are the unicorns. There is so much good makeup that is created nowadays, and these are the products that actually stand out. In a market where hundreds of foundations are launched every year, it is really difficult for ones to stand out, especially at the affordable price point for myself, because if it's not how it looks on the skin, it wears badly, that kind of thing. These are the ones that truly stand out in the top of their ranks, and I really feel like I'm not going to steer you wrong with these suggestions. Now, a little bit of background that you need to know about me, my skin type, all of that. I have normal leaning dry skin. Right now it is summer, so my skin is less dry. I'm 30 years old, and I typically prefer a medium coverage foundation because I do have discoloration, dark spots. I don't have as much texture right now. I have had texture throughout the years, so all of these are approved for when my skin was like that. I do have a little bit of visible pores and of course some fine lines coming in. But without further ado, let's get into the foundations. I'm gonna go ahead and start off with skin. These are the unicorns. There is so much good makeup that is created nowadays, and these are the products that actually stand out. In a market where hundreds of foundations are launched every year, it is really difficult for ones to stand out, especially at the affordable price point for myself, because if it's not how it looks on the skin, it wears badly, that kind of thing. These are the ones that truly stand out in the top of their ranks, and I really feel like I'm not going to steer you wrong with these suggestions. Now, a little bit of background that you need to know about me, my skin type, all of that. I have normal leaning dry skin. Right now it is summer, so my skin is less dry. I'm 30 years old, and I typically prefer a medium coverage foundation because I do have discoloration, dark spots. I don't have as much texture right now. I have had texture throughout the years, so all of these are approved for when my skin was like that. I do have a little bit of visible pores and of course some fine lines coming in. But without further ado, let's get into the foundations. I'm gonna go ahead and start off with skin tints, but I have to say my favorite skin tints pack a little bit of coverage. Now this first one is the most affordable and a must-have if you ask me. This is one of the most essential drugstore purchases one should make. It is unbelievable that this is the most affordable product in today's video, and it's probably one of the best, and it absolutely outperforms all of these high-end and luxury skin tints that are coming out right now. This has been a staple of mine for years, and it is still at the very top of the favorites. Nothing has kicked this off. This is the Wet n Wild Bare Focus Tinted Hydrator. This absolutely gorgeous skin tint is only $6.99. It is extremely difficult to come across a complexion product under $10, let alone $15. A lot of drugstore affordable foundations are now reaching towards $20, which I think is insane. Throwback 2 years ago when one of the challenges on YouTube was to do a full face of makeup from the drugstore under $20. That is near impossible nowadays unless you shop from very specific brands, and I am absolutely shocked that this is only $6.99 with a, I would say, $40 performance. Absolutely. And in some cases even more. First of all, look how beautifully this blends out. It just melts into the skin. This has a buildable sheer to light side of medium coverage. It is a skin tint. I did apply very little, and you can see that this just evens everything out, but it's not something that is super light coverage. I think it gives enough for every day just to make your skin look better. It melts into the skin, meaning it sits on top and looks really smooth and milky. They say it has a semi-matte finish. Honestly, I do feel like this does give the skin a nice glow. It's definitely glowier than they claim, but not glowy enough to emphasize any texture or pores. And if you have dry skin, this is absolutely a go-to because it is formulated with hyaluronic acid and squalane, which my skin just eats up. I do not have a single bad thing to say about this skin tint, and I really do believe that it works great for all skin types if properly prepped for oily skin. But my dry skin absolutely loves this, so we're definitely winning in the dry skin category with this product. You have nothing to lose. It's $6.99. I guarantee you if you pick this up and try it, your mind will be blown. This is my best kept secret from the drugstore. I think it's so underrated, though I have seen more people mention this, but it's been my best kept secret for the last few years because it is. Well, it's not a secret. I've always told you guys how great this is, but on this little corner of the internet, you already know. So this probably, if you're watching this video, you're looking for an affordable foundation, this is your best bet. This is the most affordable and one of the prettiest. If you're more into sticks, then I definitely want to recommend to you the e.l.Milani Conceal and Perfect Blur Out Skin Tint Stick. I am using the shade 07 Light Medium. Now this is, I believe, the most expensive. It's actually the second most expensive in today's video. I'm going by Ulta prices, by the way, and this is $18.49 at Ulta, so she is not cheap for the drugstore, but it's really, really nice. So this guy gives a light to medium coverage depending on how much you lay down on the skin. That is the beauty of stick products, is you can truly customize how much coverage you have. If you just do a couple swipes onto the skin, you don't get that much coverage. It does just enough, and the finish of this product is so beautiful. If you just do a couple of swipes, you'll find that it blurs out the skin. So it does the job of what a powder will do without actually being a powder. Just a little bit, kind of erases the pores. You can even see. So this skin tint, while typically skin tints do have a glowy finish, this one actually has a natural soft matte finish, and it does give light coverage, but if you add a little bit more of the product, I would say you can get close to a medium coverage. Because this has that soft matte finish, it actually makes it great for both dry and oily skin types. If you have severely dry skin, of course, make sure you hydrate prior, but look at how this just blurred away all of my problems. So if you have a lot of texture on your skin, a lot of pores on your skin, this is definitely a product that I would recommend. And overall, I really love it because it also feels very lightweight on the skin. But if you're looking for something super blurring, I would say this is probably the most blurring of all the products that I'm talking about today. It doesn't give the most coverage, but when it blurs so well, you don't need as much coverage. It also has phenomenal wear time, which most of the foundations that I'm talking about today do have phenomenal wear time. So if you want stick form, super blurring, okay with up to medium coverage, the Milani is absolutely the way to go. Now this next one I'm putting in the skin tint category because it says it's a skin tint, but there is nothing tinted about this. This I consider a foundation. It is absolutely incredible. This is the Maybelline Superstay Skin Tint. If you're looking for something with a little bit more coverage and a nice pearl finish, this is going to be the one you want. So this is $17.99 at Ulta. If you look up close at the packaging, you can literally see the pearl finish that this has, which I think makes this stand out from all of the other foundations in this lineup. Nothing quite has a finish like this. So I use the shade 120 or 102 when I'm a little bit lighter. I don't love the packaging of this, but the product inside is just so wonderful. Now I would say this gives like a medium full-ish coverage. I don't know, I hate this thing. That really is what gives Drugstore about this product. So in the summer, 120 is definitely my shade, and I'll mix in a little bit more of 102 if I'm on the lighter side. But look, do you see that finish? It's incredible. Those little pearls that you see, the sheen that you see, it actually does show up on the skin, and I do think this gives medium to full-ish. I wouldn't claim that it gives full coverage, but it feels so unbelievably lightweight. And again, look at this, sits in the skin, not on the skin, which you'll notice I really say that about a lot of foundations today. That is so important to me, and that's how these all made it onto this list, because it has that skin-like settled into the skin in a good way, not a bad way, kind of finish. Because sometimes settled into the skin can mean it emphasizes wrinkles and texture, but not the case with these. What I mean is it doesn't look like a layer on top of the skin, it just melts in to have that skin-like finish. So if you're looking for something that has a little bit more coverage, is buildable, as you can see, but still feels lightweight, has great wear time, and gives a unique pearl finish to the skin, this is going to be your go-to. Most of these foundations I would recommend for all skin types. Again, since I do have dry skin, I think that this particular product favors dry skin. And this is a glow despite it being so glowy, because it has more of a pearl finish as opposed to a wet glow. It doesn't emphasize texture too much. So it's almost like a glaze over the skin. It's absolutely gorgeous. But as you can see, there is nothing tinted about this. So I don't know what the name Skin Tint is all about. Let's stay in the Maybelline family here, because I really do love me a good Maybelline foundation. I think they're one of the best, most reliable brands to go to when it comes to foundation. And this was one of my favorite launches last year. This is the Maybelline Lumi Matte Foundation. Again, their marketing, I don't feel like the naming of their products is not really accurate, because that last product was not a skin tint. This Lumi Matte, tell me that is quite the juxtaposition, but I'll let it pass because it is just that good. They can say whatever they want as long as it gives the performance. I'm going to mix a little bit of 112 and 120. It has a pretty watery consistency, as you can see. Very, very lightweight. Now this is a couple bucks cheaper than the skin tint, and it's going to be $15.99 at Ulta. And what stands out to me about this one is how completely lightweight and airy this feels. If you want to feel like you're literally wearing nothing, this is the one that you are going to go to. It has, I would say, a demi-matte finish, meaning it's not fully matte, but it is kind of matte. Which I think is perfect for all skin types, because it's going to leave the skin with a little bit of life while also blurring. This gives up to a medium coverage, but it's not really buildable. So after the first or second coat, you're not going to get any additional coverage with this. But what I do love about this, because it is so thin, is it will let a glowy base come through. For example, the new Rhode Highlight Milks, that is the perfect product to put underneath this, because this will even everything out, but let that glowy base underneath show through. So this is a go-to foundation for me when I want to use a L'Oreal Lumi underneath or a Charlotte Tilbury underneath. Flawless Filter is what I'm talking about, because a lot of times those products can be pretty useless, because as soon as you put a foundation over top, you don't see it anymore. This is a product that lets that glow shine through while doing its job of smoothing over the skin that product might have emphasized. So it is incredible for that. It is literally like water over the skin, just smoothing and evening out over everything. In my notes that I wrote about this foundation prior to filming, I wrote lightweight as F, AF. Great for all skin types, lets a glowy base go through. So this is a great custom foundation if you want to mix it with different products. You can also literally mix it with those glowy products, and it's not going to fight with anything. And of course, it lasts a really, really long time. So another absolute fantastic one. You'll see this in comparison with the skin tint. The skin tint is more coverage, absolutely, and it has a little bit more glow to the skin. It does look a little bit more quote unquote makeup-y, and not in a bad way, but that's just the direct comparison. I feel as though this is a sheer filter all over the skin. Next, we have one of my longest standing favorites. I have loved this foundation for years and years. This is the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear Foundation. Truly a foundation that does not give Drugstore one iota. This foundation has been out for years and years, so it's earned its cult classic title, I would say. Almost. Give it a few more years and I think so, which is why it is the most expensive option in today's video. It's $18.99, but it is truly beautiful on the skin. This does have a buildable coverage. I wouldn't say quite to full coverage foundations are tricky at the drugstore. While I do have some favorite options, they don't wear the longest, so I think this is one of the most full coverage options that actually has the greatest wear time. If you're looking for the best full coverage foundation at the drugstore, I didn't put it in this video, but the Catrice foundation is the most full coverage with the best amount of wear time, but it still isn't amazing, which is why it's not in this video. So L'Oreal, while it doesn't have as much coverage as the Catrice, still has medium to fuller side of coverage. Not quite reaching full because you still can see a couple of spots through, but look at that. Now this one's a little bit more perfecting, meaning it has somewhat of a makeup-y finish, but not in a bad way, just in a I put makeup on my face and it's doing its job kind of way. It photographs beautifully. So this is my favorite option for an event from the drugstore because it looks great in person and it looks phenomenal in photos. This has more of a natural finish, not quite glowy, not quite matte. I'm using the shade 425. I think 420 is a little bit better. 425 right now on me is slightly deep with a little bit more of a yellow undertone, but you know me, I don't need my foundation to match perfectly. I don't care. It washes off at the end of the day, but I'm around that ballpark for sure. And overall, it's pretty breathable on the skin. While it's not the most lightweight in today's video because I did give you some of the most lightweight, airy foundations, it is lightweight enough considering how much coverage it gives. So overall, again, another option I think for all skin types. This is the event and photography foundation. This is the most makeup-y of today's video, but it still is incredibly smoothing, incredibly fresh looking, while also just doing the job of a more glam girl style of makeup. And years-long favorite of mine, definitely a staple. Okay, now this last foundation I would say is more of an honorable mention because there is one downfall to this product, but it is simply so affordable that I had to mention it because there are very, very few foundations at the drugstore under $10, which is why this is one of the best options. So I had to give it an honorable mention. This is the e.l.f. Soft Glam Satin Foundation. This is one of the most beautiful foundations on the skin. I have the shade 21 Light Neutral, and it does have a true satin finish. It's a little bit thicker than any of the other foundations that I'm mentioning today, which I think gives it a really smooth, perfected look on the skin, as you can see, almost like a filter. Now, the reason it's more of an honorable mention as opposed to being a real standout in today's video is due to the wear time of this, which is one of the issues that I have with affordable foundations. This one can look a little makeup-y at the end of the day. It is not bad. But the reason I still wanted to include this foundation is because of how beautiful it looks on the skin. Like if I am not going to be wearing this all day, this is one of the most beautiful foundations under $10 at the drugstore. So if I'm just going out to dinner, having a few photos taken, I'm not testing it out in extreme weather or all day, then this is a phenomenal foundation to have in your collection because its true satin finish really smooths the skin like a filter. It has medium coverage, leaning towards full. Once again, I'd even argue it has slightly more coverage than the L'Oreal. I think it's going to be fantastic for all skin types. Just keep in mind if you do buy this, I'm not promising all day wear with this, but what I am promising is a flawless finish, which this absolutely gives. And the price point of this absolutely floors me for the amount of coverage and the look of this on the skin. So honorable mention. I often reach for this foundation in a lot of my videos because of how poreless it makes me look on camera. So those are my absolute top favorite foundations at the drugstore. So many tried and trues, so many favorites that I've been using for years. For my final look today, I actually went with the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear, and look how good my skin is looking paired along with other great products. So I will have all the products that I'm also wearing in the intro and outro down below for you guys. But I hope you guys found this video helpful if you've been looking for a great foundation that is not going to break your wallet. And as always, these are just my opinions and how things sit on my skin with my makeup techniques. So if you have a favorite drugstore foundation that I didn't mention in today's video, please share it down below, especially with your skin type. I would love to hear that. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video, found it helpful. I'll have everything that I mentioned linked down below as well as tagged in shopping. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.